But yeah, seen it in 4DX. So I was kind of freaking out when I saw it with my girlfriend, and she had a seatbelt on her seat and mine didn't. And I was like, what? What's going on here? That kind of gave me a little bit of panic right there.
It's all right to be scared.
What is up? Drive-By Movies here, and you're watching
Fresh Releases.
My name is James.
My name is Blaise.
And today we checked out the surprise hit of the summer, Twisters.
We got twins! Twins!
Twisters is the long-awaited sequel to Twister. It is the story of a retired tornado chaser and meteorologist that is persuaded to return to Oklahoma to work with a new team and new technologies. So this is kind of that long-awaited sequel. I think this film had kind of been in development hell for a long time. There was at one point going to be a Twisters with Bill Paxton, or a 3D Twister movie, even in the early 2010s, I think. And it just kept getting pushed off. Obviously we lost Bill Paxton, so I think just that kind of fizzled out, but luckily we have finally got the film, and surprisingly enough, it's directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who directed Minari, which feels like he definitely got out of his comfort zone doing something like this that's so different than Minari. And I think it definitely lended, some more excitement to that kind of blockbuster film that I feel like we've all been missing. Anyways, James, what'd you think of the film?
Yeah, so I know Twister is a movie that means a lot to a lot of people from our age demographic. We're from the early 90s. I hang out with a lot of people from the early 90s too, as you would expect. But for me, I always remember Twister being that movie at Blockbuster. It was the first time I went to Blockbuster, and that whole pillar was just all VHS tapes of Twister, and all of them were gone. So as a kid, I took that as like, Twister is the most popular movie of all time, and I always wanted to see it, but my parents, they saw it in theaters and they hated it for whatever reason, and they just refused to ever let me watch it. They might not have thought it was appropriate enough for me, but I remember seeing it with cousins, and the opening scene scaring the hell out of me I remember the father being pulled out of the basement door and stuff, and that always like stuck with me as a kid and made me scared of tornadoes and panic, like, oh god, is a tornado gonna hit San Jose, where I was growing up at the time, which does not happen in California. And also a lot of my friends, like you included, just tell me that Twister meant a lot to you guys, like, growing up. So I don't really have any memory with it. I did see it eventually, and I think I liked it, but I can't really remember it all too well. Twister's a movie I never would have asked for, and had no interest really in seeing until it went viral in 4DX, and that's how I saw it. And it's a 10 out of 10 fun experience, but overall the movie for me is just, it's not my kind of thing. I wouldn't say it's a bad movie by any means. It's just not for me though, personally. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, that's a shame. I actually really enjoyed this movie. I kind of went in expecting it to kind of be like really bad. Like, honestly, I expected there to be a cow, and like, I didn't expect it to be as tastefully done. I thought it was going to be that trash sequel that they throw in all the moments from the original. Like, there's going to be the ghost of Bill Paxton sucked in a Twister or something, like, I just expected it to be like the worst thing ever, especially even the trailers. Like, nothing, they didn't really excite me or anything. And I had to support Glen Powell. After this year, he's really just kind of made a name for himself. So I definitely thought that this movie was him being like, here I am. like in that blockbuster style movie. But yeah, this film really reminded me of like those Amblin style movies that we'd get in the 90s that really were just a crowd pleaser. Like everyone's gonna have a good time, you could take anyone you want, like, and this was that movie. I felt like, especially it just felt so different than something you get kind of in this day and age. I feel like usually you get, you know, the movie where it has deep, like it's a franchise, has deep lore, and like there's one, you know, person that knows everything about it, and then you get a bunch of people that are there wanting to get everything explained to them every 5 seconds. And this just felt like, no, you don't even need to watch the first movie, you could just watch this and enjoy it. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was like balanced, you know, like it was interesting having that art house director kind of do a blockbuster, because it did feel like there were, you know, subtle elements that you wouldn't get if you got, you know, Michael Bay or somebody directing, you know, more of your blockbuster filmmaker directing something like this. So yeah, I thought that this was a really interesting movie that kind of, you know, subverted my expectations and what I thought it was going to be. But anyways, I want to get to knowing what you thought about that 4DX experience, because this was a movie where when I was leaving the theater, I'm like, dude, I messed up. Like, I wish I saw that in 4DX. Like, this was the 4DX movie.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, 100%. I do want to, going off of what you said, though, I want to applaud. This is how you make a sequel, a movie that stands on its own and does not need to, like, you know, like I said, I remember the first one, but like, honestly, I can't tell you really anything that happened. I mainly just remember images from it. And I love that this movie stands on its own and doesn't require you to watch a movie. Of course, like, you know, if you're bringing back the same characters, you need some kind of continuation, and, you know, like, you have some familiarity with the characters from the first movie. This movie doesn't use any of the original characters, but just, like, you know, try your best to make a movie stand on its own and not require you to have to see the original, because that happens all the time. A lot of people go to a movie without seeing the first one with previous knowledge. So, you know, that's not how I see movies normally, but, you know, I'm glad that this movie worked out for me in that way. But yeah, seen it in 4DX. So I was kind of freaking out when I saw it with my girlfriend, and she had a seatbelt on her seat and mine didn't. And I was like, what? What's going on here? That kind of gave me a little bit of panic right there. And another couple sat next to us, and I asked, like, yo, does yours have a seatbelt? And he was like, no, mine doesn't. And then he's like, oh, my, like his girlfriend had one too. So it's just the edges. I don't know if just the ends of my theater comes with what's it called? We were in like a 4-person little section where it's just like our 4 seats were grouped together on one platform, because the platform shakes all 4 of those seats basically. I think all the seats were set up that way. But yeah, just for some reason, the 2 girls on both ends had seatbelts, and us 2 guys in the middle didn't have seatbelts. But, you know, I had a large popcorn, a large soda. The large soda exploded, but not because of 4DX. It exploded because the lid was terrible, and just I couldn't grasp it too hard. But I knew I was nervous going into the theater because the theater was a mess. There was popcorn everywhere, those spilled drinks everywhere, and I still think it was part of the cap issue, because not just my soda exploded, multiple people's soda exploded. But yeah, so I knew the things were going to shake. I knew that you got wet. It's, for those of you who haven't done 4DX, some people might not even have access to a 4DX theater. It does shoot out water, but it's more mystified water. It's never splashes of water. And so mystified water at times, it was just like, oh, like it got in my eyes and stuff. Like sprinkles, like, you know, I don't mind as much, but mist is like, oh, it got in my mouth, and it's loud. it goes like and stuff. So I was just like, that kind of took me out at times. But what I really didn't expect was in your seat, the seats are very hard, surprisingly. They are cushioned, but they're not as like padded as you would expect. And inside the seat, there's like a little thing that kind of punches you. So residue flying throughout the movie was punching me in the back. And during the opening sequence, that first tornado, there's a scene where the boyfriend gets hit by a branch or something in the face. And that was like the #1 biggest jump scare of my life. Like the bent neck lady in Haunting a Hill House, the decapitation scene in Exorcist 3 have nothing on that jump scare, because wind shot right by my face and blew my hair. And I just jumped, like, I was like, what the hell? Because I did not know that wind was going to blow from right behind me inside the seat. So that scared the hell out of me. But yeah, the things shake like crazy, and I was surprised how hard it throws you. Like, it's definitely not meant for people with like back problems or anything. But it's a fun time. I highly do recommend checking out a movie in 4DX, and this seems like the movie to do it in. Unfortunately, it seems like Deadpool coming out, like that's probably going to take over. But if you have a chance to still see Twisters in 4DX, it's great because, yeah, even though I wasn't the biggest fan of the movie, it's an experience I'm never going to forget. And like, I was really happy watching it that way.
Definitely. Yeah, I had my first experience this year with seeing Godzilla vs. Kong in D-Box, which is not 4DX. It's more just like the chair moves around, and like there's like kind of like I guess vibrators in the chair kind of, and they'll move around. And like, yeah, when Kong and Godzilla were like punching each other, it'd be like basically you'd kind of feel it in your back, kind of similar thing. But that I would say is more along the lines of, it honestly just felt like a massage chair. It wasn't, they didn't have like effects. So that, like, after one movie, I'm like, okay, I don't really need to do that again. It was fine. Like, I was like, it kind of got tiring after the end of the movie, because I think that it was only 2 hours, but yeah, towards the end, I think I even turned it off. I'm like, all right, this is a little bit too much. Like, it's like there's scenes where they're talking and it's like still like vibrating. I'm like, this is just unnecessary. Like, you could just chill, you know?
Honestly, so after experiencing 4DX, I think I would prefer D-Box. I really had fun with the seats moving, but like some of the effects I didn't talk about. So there is smoke that comes out during the movie, but it was only happening on the bottom left side of the theater. So at first I thought something was wrong and something just like broke or something, started smoking when it first came out. But then it started happening more throughout the movie. Like, it waited towards like the third tornado within the movie for the smoke to start coming out. So that's why I was like caught off guard. I was just like, what? There wasn't smoke for the previous tornadoes. Why is there smoke all of a sudden? And it was a lot. And then also throughout the movie, I was noticing flashes going off behind me. And I thought that it was just people like recording, they accidentally left their light on. But no, there was actually like lightning flashes. So they did have like little strobe lights that show off to like, you know, make the lightning feel more surreal. I was towards the very front, like more towards the front of the theater, because it was a sold out screening. Everyone's trying to see it right now in LA in 4DX. So because it was behind me, it was like catching me off guard. So my only problem was, I guess, also with 4DX is just I wish some of the effects were better placed. Like if they had 2 or 3 throughout the theater and not just have things happening in one spot, because then it's just like taking you out and it's just like, wait, what is that? Instead of like feeling immersive, because if it's coming from the same spot multiple times, I was just like, oh, you should have a couple more versions of these, like in the front and a couple in the back, maybe. That's my like one critique. It's possible it might be more immersive, and because I went to the very last screening, I saw like a 10:30 screening at night. So it's possible like maybe they're running out of smokes from one side of the theater and only had it coming out of one other part of the theater.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll have to check it out sometime. I would like to see a movie kind of like this. I'm probably not going to see Twisters again in theaters, but I'd like to see a movie that's probably similar style. I feel like a superhero movie is probably not the movie. It's like a disaster movie might honestly be the best kind of iteration of it, because it can really get the most effects out of it in a way. But yeah, I'll have to check that out at some point. Getting back to Twisters, yeah, I thought that this film was really kind of... I feel like it came out of left field. It did do really well at the box office, and I'm interested to see if it kind of keeps those legs going. I know Long Legs had long legs, but will Twister keep spinning, you know?
I can see it doing, honestly. Just because this is... A lot of people keep saying, like, Middle America showed out to this movie. Just because, you could easily say that there's climate change within, our current planet, but they don't bring that up within this movie. There's no politics whatsoever in this movie. So, that's making it play well from what I hear throughout the country too. Like, a lot of people just want to have a fun action movie. And I do applaud this movie for being a throwback movie, where just like, it feels like a movie. Like, none of a lot of these characters feel like larger than life. Like, nobody really acts this way. And that's kind of what took me out of the movie, which I should have been more prepared for, but that's just why it didn't work for me necessarily. I went in expecting a more like realistic take, adults chasing tornadoes and trying to help save the planet basically and help people. But instead, when I was getting these like, tornado wranglers and hearing, yeah, we got ourselves a tornado, baby, and country music blasting throughout the movie and off-roading, I was just like, this feels very just for a movie orientated stuff, and that was taking me out, and I wasn't expecting that. So that's just like, it wasn't my taste buds. It wasn't catering towards my taste buds, I guess, and that's what didn't work out for me. But I see why people are having so much fun, because these characters are fun. It's just not my type of thing, though. But I see it having, going for quite some time. We don't get movies like this, and we do need more like just dumb fun movies like this that, like, or not saying it's dumb, it's just like, it's very like, by the numbers but works well and still thrilling.
Oh, it's dumb. I mean, the movie's dumb, but it's dumb but enjoyable. It wasn't like dumb, stupid B movie enjoyable. It was just like, okay, you gotta literally suspend your disbelief, because like, obviously there's not gonna be like 87 twisters out in one. I know there's Tornado Alley, but like, there was just way too many twisters in such a fast amount of time, it felt like. And they kind of try and go back to like the first one with like kind of shooting stuff up into the tornado, but even that seemed ridiculous when like Glen Powell's character is shooting like fireworks in the tornado just for like, because his fans were like telling him to put stuff in the tornado. That's where I was surprised that like the fans wouldn't ask for a cow, and like maybe that's how they weave in the cow in the twisters. Something. But that definitely wouldn't have flown with PETA, I feel like.
Yeah. From what I understand, I hear Paul Scheer, I believe his name is. From I mainly know him from The League, and I see him on TikTok all the time. I know he was in the original. Apparently, that's like his first film ever. So
there's no way that he was in the original. The timeline doesn't match up.
Oh, like he says he was.
He says he was. I think he's joking. He has to be joking. There's literally no way. The timeline does not match up, I feel like.
Okay, like I said, I haven't seen the original, so I can't confirm. But
he said like he said his mom is in it, and then she's pregnant, so that means he's in the first Twisters, which the timeline does not match up at all.
Pregnant with him or pregnant?
Yeah. Pregnant with him.
Well, yeah, definitely doesn't. Yeah, he's like a decade older than us, and that movie came out in like what, 94, 95.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't. The math ain't mathin'.
Yeah, unless like he's just holding her hand, maybe, and she's pregnant with like his sibling or something. But I don't know.
Like, you could say that. Oh, I was a twinkle in my mom's eye. Is that what he's trying to say or something? But I mean, even that doesn't make sense. Like. Yeah, I have to say that, I mean, I didn't look super far into it, but I don't think the math's math in there. I'll have to look a little bit further into Paul Scheer's, being in the original Twister. But he does make a little fun, like, cameo at the end. Like, he's kind of one of those guys where you could throw him in anything. He's kind of like a character actor, and he can be funny. And that was just such a fun, like, way to end the movie there, where, he just pops the button and... and his car digs in. Like, that's the kind of dumb stuff that I enjoyed. Like, that was just so ridiculous, and I think everyone's got a ticket at the airport before, so I could relate.
Right. Yeah. That you know what? Yeah, that ham, that like cheesy ham, like honestly was like, it did work for me towards the end. I guess like just in the middle of the movie, it caught me off guard, and I was like, well, I guess I hate this movie now or something. But I'm down for another too, because it left open-endedness, and this movie is, like we said, it's doing well at the box office, and I can see it having long legs. So if we get a sequel with these characters, I'll gladly watch it, and expect me to see it in 4DX again. Maybe we'll have 5DX by the time it comes out. But let us know what you thought about Twisters. It's currently in theaters. If you saw it in 4DX, I want to hear about your experience. And let me know if it was fun seeing in just normal 2D as well. That's a great way to help support the show.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
And speaking of updates, be sure to catch all our social media links down below. We got them for Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and also we have our own personal Letterboxd account, so follow us as well. That'll conclude this week's episode. Tune in next week for a brand new video.